7 weeks out for the meet today. I think we're like exactly 7 weeks out. This is the start of the second to last block. So we got week 1 of our doubles block. And I got to be honest with you, I am wildly beat up. I'm very tired from last week, from week 4. I felt like after the bench, I felt okay. But that squat really kind of buried me. But I'll tell you what, that final pull on deadlift, even it not being a crazy like maximal lift, I haven't had that type of load for a while. That's the most I pulled. It's the highest I pulled over 405 in like 8 or 9 months. And granted, I pulled 405 for triple 6, 7, 8 weeks ago, something like that. So load wise, it's not total, like the most in the set. But just like, I'm just not used to that single, you know, which is kind of why I did it, because I wanted to be able to get my body used to pulling those heavy singles again on deadlift. But I tell you what, that buried me. That was 2 days ago. My lower back is fried. My legs are fried. My hips are fried. My shoulders are beat up. My shoulders got beat up definitely from the heavy bench and then a heavy squat. Benching again for close grip, heavy close grip. We took 275 out for triples twice last week, which is a lot of load for me. So happy with it. So very happy with the way everything moved. I'm very okay with the way that everything was. I would not redo it a different way. It's just the fact of the matter is, this is the second to last block. I am so beat up. Just every part of me, my abs are sore, my pecs are sore, my rhomboids, like everything in me just hurts. It's sore. My joints are beat up. It's kind of what we want. We're building up this fatigue, but with all this stimulus, and we're trying to keep that fatigue just like within range of that stimulus, right? We don't want to shoot the fatigue up too high to where we can't bring it back down. So this week 1. This is our deload week per se. This is our easiest week that we have. And I'm probably going to take this one real easy. So I got a goal for doubles. We're going to try. The goal is 260 for my doubles, followed by, I think like a 3x3 on bench. Yeah, a 3x3. So we went from 4s down to 3s. So relatively, the back off sets are still pretty high. So we're going to take out 250 for our back offs for a 3x3, which isn't much, but we're going to see how we get up to 260, how it feels. And I ain't going to lie to you, if it doesn't feel real great, I might just cut it real early. Yeah, we might hit a double at like 240, and the 225 is our back offs just for this first week, just to get ourselves that deload that we kind of need to cut the fatigue a bit, which is good. Scheduled fatigue is a lot better than unanticipated fatigue. This is what we wanted. We wanted to build the fatigue, and we did. So let's get the bench. Let's get rocking. Let's get warmed up, and we'll go. Any time of equipment too, for a bench, like at the meet, I'm going to be using wrist straps. I will not be using a belt or nothing like that, but I will be using wrist straps. So for now on, for all my lifts, the exception of the squat tomorrow, just for that last time, that's it. Everything is going to be exactly what it's going to be like on the platform. The squat, I'm still going to use my softer sleeves as opposed to my stiffer sleeves, just because there is a big difference between the soft and the stiffer sleeves. And the soft sleeves will allow me to cut some fatigue, just because I can't handle quite the same load that I can with the stiffer sleeves. So, but for like bench, all my top sets are going to have wrist wraps for this block. And even next block, I'm going to use it for all my top sets and probably all of my back offs, just to get used and accommodated back to like the wraps. I do like not using the wraps to still build up the strength, that we need. Same way with the sleeves. I don't want my main squat to be a bare knee squat, because I definitely think it's the same thing with like a belt. I don't like my main stuff to be beltless if I use a belt for the comp, right? Because I do think it affects things. There's plenty of research and studies to show that like bracing with a belt is different than without. So I think that like we still keep the belt in. Now the belt's a different one because you either have one or you don't. But like for sleeves, stiff sleeves, soft sleeves, stuff like that. I still want to use sleeves because I will squat differently bare knee than with sleeves in general. There's to me, there's a difference there. There's not a ton of difference other than load from a softer sleeve to a stiffer sleeve, because the sleeve still offers support in general. It's just more supportive. So as we get closer, I'd like to be more specific with it, and get more to where we're going to be at during that competition for sure. But I want to be accommodated back to using that supportive type of equipment, wrist wraps, belts, stiff sleeves, stuff like that. But if I were to bench with a belt, I'd be wearing a belt right now in this part of prep. Let's say that I did not wear a belt though, I would have not worn a belt in prep. Probably other than maybe last block for bench. Well, John, why would you do 260 for a double and then do a 3x3 of 250? Isn't a 1x2 at 260 kind of the same as 250 for a triple? And honestly, yeah, it is, especially for me. A lot of times, especially bench, if I want to go up 1 RPE or if I want to go down 1 rep, it's about 10 pounds, almost perfectly for me. So for me personally, 260 for 2 is about the same as 250 for 3. So I'm kind of, in a way, if we think about it, I'm hitting 4 sets right now on bench. Doesn't matter how you look at it. I'm kind of doing 260 for a 4x2 or 250 for a 4x3. At least intensity wise, it's kind of the same. The difference is the loading. We're getting more load at a more submaximal weight. So we're adding more total load on those submaximal weights, and we're using more of same intensity, but we're using less of the total load in a higher weight. So that, yes, the intensity is the same. 250 or 260 for a double, about the same as 250 for a triple for me. So we're kind of just doing 4 straight sets when it comes to intensity wise, but we're using the load of a more submaximal weight to get more of our volume, and we're using a heavier load at the same intensity in order to get less total load, but get more of a intensity of the load itself. You know what I mean? And we get that heavy exposure, we get the heavy touch without it being a very intense set as that top set. And again, I'm setting up as my comp would, same setup, leg drive, all that stuff. So we're coming out. talking about more specific things for the competition too, like dumbbell. You know, we're transitioning from like the dips to the next 2 blocks are gonna be dumbbell press. You know, I don't have a ton of like growth per se using dumbbells as the secondary movement on this day, but I do have a big carryover when it comes to the movement itself. But I personally, I'm limited in weight of the dumbbells that I have. These are 80s. These are like the rock weights. Ones that, you know, you buy the shell, you fill it full of concrete, you get 80 pounds, 60, 40, whatever. The heaviest dumbbell I have is these 80s. So I'm very limited on load. So I don't like to throw these in all the time. Now, it would be great, and I would probably have dumbbell stuff more as like an incline dumbbell, a flat dumbbell press, more as like accessories that I use. But I'm so limited in load that like it gets to the point very quickly where I can bang out these 80s. I mean, for 4 sets of like 20 if I really wanted to. So I gotta get more creative. We were for a while. We were doing incline with, you know, those tricep extensions, like with the tricep rollbacks. We did those with, you know, way more control, more strain on the pecs. But I'm so limited to it that like long term, it's not the solution for me. It's not the right answer. But when it comes to competition, we're getting close. I do want things that are more specific, or at least closer, you know, to fit more into that mold of specificity when it comes to lifts. So I can use these dumbbells and do the same movement pattern, right? At least similarly. All right, I had in my plan to do a chest supported row. I do not have a chest supported row. I don't have a seated chest supported row machine. I don't have like a chest supported T-bar. What I was doing was laying on the bench at an incline facing like the opposite of what I am now and dangling the bar here and pulling it up, obviously on the other side. Right now my feet is blowing up with people use a Smith machine and this incline as just like a pad like right here as a chest supported row. So we are going to be hopping on the bandwagon today. We're going to be giving it a try and see how well it works. I don't know what the load's going to be. I did the bar. It felt like I could have done it with my pinkies, so I put a plate on. So this is either going to be pretty decent or it's going to kill me. But I gotta be honest with you, I think I'm gonna grab straps. Now, I put a thing up the other day about back work and straps, and if people use back work or they use straps when they do back work. I got, I think, one reply that alluded to the fact that they do. However, I got 2 or 3 replies from separate people, basically telling me that I'll lose my grip and that they won't do it because they don't want to be a sissy. Just so we're clear, this is not a grip exercise. So I'm not using this to improve my grip. I can do my grip separately if it becomes an issue, which it never has. This is simply to feel my back more in the movement. That's pretty good. I don't mind that. All right, set number 2. The only thing I wish this was a cambered bar so I can get a little bit more of range of motion and a bit more of a squeeze at the top. But definitely a movement worth throwing in for sure. Very happy with that. All right, I wanted to try something different with the triceps today. That's why we did like this little incline, like almost like an overhead, like an overhead press down, and then overhead like extension, whatever you want to call it, the incline bench. I wanted to try something different, just to switch the, just to switch it up for my own mental sake. You know, I still want to tricep work. I just want to do something different than what I've been doing. And honestly, the seated, like, overhead like push down was great. The overhead like extension, it's too awkward to set up, it's too awkward to get out of that position. So I'm not gonna keep those ones in for sure. I do like the overhead press down though. So we'll keep that one in. I'll just figure out something else to do for triceps. I just want to do a quick tricep superset. You know, something that just got a ton of stimulus on my triceps, but I have the elbows of a 7-year-old for some reason, so they get pained a lot. So for right now, what we're gonna do is, as I talk, I'm just gonna bang out some of these like extensions with this band. I've talked about it before in previous videos. It's the only way I've ever got rid of my elbow tendonitis. Is just very high rep sets of this really small band, because there's a point where, and I'm sure somebody's gonna call me an idiot and say that, you know, physiologically this doesn't make sense and I'm not a doctor. I don't really care. This is what I've been told multiple times by a lot of different people, way smarter and honestly way stronger than me and probably you who's watching. So that there's a point where you can just fatigue the muscle, and the tendon's gonna take a lot of that beating per se, or it's not enough load for the muscle to like kick in, is what I've heard too, a couple people say. And maybe that's just the way to think about it, but there's a point where, like, you know, your tendon obviously is a thing moving the weight. Your muscle is contracting your tendon, which then moves your joint. Like right now, the tendons in my tricep are the thing that extend my elbow, right? It's not the muscles. The muscles contract. Well, as they go down, my tricep is contracting, which pulls my tendon, obviously, but the tendon is the thing that actually grabs onto the bone. So if we can kind of get around like the muscle in a way, I don't know, it's just the way it's been explained to me. Maybe it's just like I said, the thought behind it of what it's supposed to do. I'm not a doctor. I actually don't know really what goes on with it or how exactly it works. But I know that it makes my tendons not hurt anymore, especially in my elbows from doing really high rep sets of this stuff. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've almost considered, because my adductors take a real big beating in my squat, going wider for competition, and now that I'm doing sumo, my adductors are kind of starting to take a beating as well. Almost thought about doing like a just a standard like adduction with the band of same thing, like using this yellow band and just doing super high reps with it, just to see if we can get that tendon to kind of like not hurt so bad. But yeah, we're gonna do this. I'm just gonna keep doing this for a little bit until. Well, honestly, until I decide to stop. But I'm going to go ahead and end the video for you guys, so you guys don't have to sit here and just watch me flail my arms around, extend my elbows in very awkward, weird positions like I am right now that make absolute no sense. But for me, it makes sense. I don't know. This is just where I can feel it. So I'll do a couple of these. I'll do a couple of those. I'll do a couple of... just whatever I honestly feel like doing. and we'll go from there. So we'll see you guys tomorrow in the video. We're going to do squats. If you like my video, please like. It helps it out. Helps my channel grow a ton. The more likes I get, the more views I get. I really want to showcase like normal training. I'm a normal guy. I have a wife, I have kids, I have a full-time job. This is just normal stuff for me. So I need to move relatively normal weight. I'm not exceptionally strong. I'm not exceptionally weak though either. So I think I'm pretty average, pretty in the norm. So so if you like this style of content, please subscribe to my channel. I post 4 times a week. We do vlogs generally Saturday, Sunday, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Sometimes because I am a normal guy and this is not my profession. Sometimes it does get switched around because my kids or wife or work or my own personal stuff or whatever. So, but subscribe. I do at least post 4 times a week. And yeah, check out some of my other videos. We got a meet coming up. I'm sure if you've watched this video this far, you've learned. I have a meet coming up in about 7 weeks. So we're prepping for that right now. So yeah, follow along till we get to the meet. Or don't, and come check back in 7 weeks and see how my meet went. Because I'll post my list and stuff about the meet and you know, my synopsis, my program, and we'll kind of start back over and start the prep for the next one or start the off season for the next one or whatever it's going to be. So that's pretty much all I got. There's no outro. I have no idea what to do for an outro. So the video just kind of cuts.